All right, here we go.
This is what it is.
Yeah. The first official episode of TF Cast. Jacob.
Willis.
Zach.
Our first ever guest. Zach.
How do you say your last name?
Sproles.
Sproles.
Yes.
Okay.
German, I think?
It's a good place to start. German.
Yeah, I believe so.
And this isn't your first time with us.
No.
We did the at Psychotropic Sounds.
Yes.
The live show.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on YouTube. You're the guitarist for Onion Bun.
Yes, I am.
You want to talk about the project just like a little bit, get everyone up to speed who might not know?
Yeah, we're a three-piece. All of us are from the area. Our bassist is from Wisconsin, but he's lived here for years. Me and my drummer have known each other a long time, and we got into math rock, and there's like not too much math rock in Minnesota, so we wanted to try to start a band that played something a little different. So we decided to make a math rock band, and then we got Alex in the band, and that's been going on for like a year and a half. Working on an album. Thought we were going to release it around now, but it's looking like we're hoping March, maybe a little after.
Yeah, now sometimes becomes later. You said there wasn't a lot of math rock in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the local scene here who you...
So there used to be a band called Hardcore Crayons that was pretty math rock. I would even call like Crash Cuddle. They were a two-piece that used to be from here. They're still doing their thing, but they haven't been here in a long time. They're pretty mathy, but they're a lot heavier than we are for sure. There's some bands from the cities that I've met. There's one that I believe is called Lap Dogs, and then my buddy used to be in a band called Lulu the Cat. He's starting a new project, and they're probably going to be pretty mathy. But I don't know a lot of the math rock scene up there.
In Minneapolis?
In Minneapolis or St. Paul. Just kind of starting to meet people. I know a lot of people from the punk scene, from Weathered, my old band. Met a lot of people doing that, but I don't really know what there is for math rock in Minnesota yet.
Who have you been playing with?
It's honestly been all over the place. We've played with grindcore bands at Edgar Fest. We play a lot with punk bands because, like I said, that's a lot of the people I know. Like we really love playing with Pierre, good buddies. We tried to book with Grandma a couple times, couldn't play with them. My buddies in Double Grave we just played with recently. My friend They Self, we played with them at the record store, and we've played with them a couple times. In Lou, definitely, we really like them a lot. So just mostly like punk bands. We played a show with Cicada Killer.
Oh, cool.
They're awesome. They're instrumental as well, so that we kind of meld. We can kind of go with anything because we got a little bit of a funk vibe, a little bit of a math vibe, a little bit of a punk vibe.
Do you usually find yourself in like an opening slot for those because of energy, or?
A lot of the times. Recently, we've been more towards the end. Especially in Mankato, you kind of have to put locals last. I think that's just kind of a small town venue thing. Just helps keep people around, keep people excited about the whole show.
That's a really interesting thing I've noticed here in general is that like oftentimes the local person will bring out more than the out of towner.
Yeah, unless it
depends on scale.
It's got to be a pretty big act or a pretty well known act. Like you can put like Pierre, for example. I'm pretty sure you could put them on any bill in Mankato, and kids will flock, come out of the floors to.
I hadn't heard about them until we did that show. At Red Rocks.
Kids just all of a sudden out of nowhere. People I'd never even met will all of a sudden be at shows when Pierre comes to town. That's for sure.
That's super cool.
Yeah. If you had like a dream lineup you could put together for a show here in town.
Are you talking like local acts or just like
whatever you want?
Well, we love playing with Pierre, so probably bring them back, of course. Mm-hmm. Those are some of the best buds. My friend, that old band I was talking about, Hardcore Crayons, I don't know if they do anything now. They might be doing production, I think, kind of similar to what you guys are doing now. Mm-hmm. But that would definitely be someone on there. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I'm definitely missing someone. Yeah, I would also, I think it'd be fun to do like a rapper like Nigel T. I really like down. He's probably one of my favorite local rappers.
That'd be a cool energy.
Yeah, and I actually want to make a song with him really bad. I think it would be fun to have rappers. That's one cool thing about being an instrumental band and not having a singer is we could bring in a sax player or a rapper or whoever and just kind of throw them on a song.
Featured artist sort of thing.
Well, long time ago, I was in a band called Coitus Koi, and we had a couple people in town who, if we saw them like at the bar, they would come up and we had like songs we would play with them. God, I can't remember the name of the.
Where was that based out of?
That was based out of here. It was with my friend Brandon, who used to be in Just Berlin with Pete Klug, and then my friend Brody.
Is that band still around?
Yeah, we're actually trying to book with them.
Because I was trying to find Twitter ads last night, and I saw them, and I was like, that's one of Pete Klug's bands, and I just like didn't know, because I ended up finding a lot of like pages that were like dead Twitter pages from like 2014 or some shit.
I love that.
Yeah, so I was trying to just keep it up with recent stuff, but that's good to know.
I'm 3 tweets deep as of today.
Oh, hell yeah.
And a retweet, so.
Nice. Yeah, did you get anything back from Tim Allen?
No, nothing back from Tim Allen, but I'm going to just spam him until he blocks me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it's possible. You can be... Who's Tim Allen? Tool Time?
Tool Time.
Home Improvement.
Home Improvement.
Yeah.
That's the real name. He narrated a chimpanzee documentary for Disney.
Yeah.
He isn't he?
He got caught.
Buzz Lightyear.
He got caught with a bunch of cocaine in the airport in the 80s too.
That just makes me want him to monologue more. Have you ever heard those ambient shoegazy songs with like someone monologuing over it? Like Tiny Moving Parts does one with Brett Favre, where like a lot of people will choose like random philosophers.
Alan Watts.
Alan, that was the biggest.
Yeah,
That's who I was trying to think of. Alan Watts I hear a lot. Yeah, I want that, but I just want it to be Tim Allen, like talking about his favorite kind of wood or something.
Call it Tim Allen Watts.
Yes. Yes, that's perfect.
That's a good meme page.
Tim Allen Watts, I love that.
Follow that up from your banana page.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so
dive right into it.
Yeah, I got we're at like 486. We just checked it before this.
That's super new too.
Yes, yeah, we might be about a week old now, and yeah, basically we believe bananas should stay hydrated. You shouldn't dehydrate them. We have an enemy faction out of Minneapolis called the Minneapolis Vegan Dehydrated Bananas. I believe Coalition, something like that. But anyway, we got kicked out of that because we were trying to stand up against the admins because they were kind of abusing their power a little bit. So then me and some friends stood up to them when we got banned, and then so I threatened to take action if they didn't let me back in, and they didn't, and they said I wouldn't do anything, and then so now our army's very strong. We have some of the best meme lords in town for sure.
I have to ask, has someone made a non-vegan dehydrated banana? It seems redundant.
Well, you could like cook it in some sort of, you could put like some sort of fat on it, I suppose. There's or I don't know.
Bacon fat, just saute it up.
Yeah, you just like add an animal.
That's actually one of the reasons that this whole thing started was because my bass player said that deep frying bananas should count as dehydrating them because it dehydrates them first. Mm-hmm. And then that's kind of where this whole thing kind of spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
And I said I preferred dehydrated mangoes, and that's definite. That was a turning point as well.
So it's not just, it's a fruit that's the problem. It's bananas. You can dehydrate other fruits safely.
But that's because I eat enough hydrated bananas that I definitely am getting enough water and nutrients that way.
Okay. Is this like a primary diet?
Source
of your diet?
It's not that you have to eat only hydrated bananas. It's just that you can't dehydrate them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't survive the winter. You won't get enough nutrients.
What if you just add animal fat to the dehydrated bananas? Would that make them acceptable?
We're worried about the dehydration and not the vegan part, I guess, necessarily.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but we're growing and we're getting stronger every day. We got a couple
movement.
Yeah, we got a couple things in the works. A couple celebrities who I'm in contact with. Trying to get them to be our spokesman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Allen.
Tim Allen, I would love for him, but he's not on there. I would love to tell you on here, but that's top secret.
Okay.
Good.
More to follow.
Keep it. What's the page called?
People who eat vegan dehydrated bananas are genetically weak.
Okay. Well, you can check it out there.
What about this show we have upcoming? We have a Friday show.
So, to preface it, the sad part of it is that some friends of ours, bands Heart to Gold, Grandma, and Harper's Jar. Harper's Jar has a member or members of, I think, one of the other bands in Pierre, the band I've been talking about. And basically, they got held up at gunpoint, and a bunch of stuff got stolen from their practice space.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I saw that fundraiser, and I saw it when it was like a couple $100.
Yeah, it's at like $2,000 last time I saw it.
Yeah, I was so happy. Like, I opened it up. I made there's a big list of shit that got stolen, and I made like a small donation, and later on I was like kind of really warmed up to see that it was like approaching $3,000. I was like, that still ain't gonna cover it, but
yeah, they had a lot of stuff stolen, and it was, I think, even a car was taken. And these are like, all three of those bands are like super active in the scene, and they've been around for years. I don't know the people in Heart to Gold, but I know the people in the other bands, and they're all super nice people who are like have been playing for years. Grandma, I think most of them are actually from Mankato. But anyway, because of that, we're giving all the money away from the show on Friday to them, just to try to get some personal belongings back, maybe some gear, like see what we can do. And it's a new venue called The Den. The address is undisclosed. You can ask a punk if you need the address. If you guess a gosh dang old punk, they'll know. But yeah, it's us, a band called Aperture or Aperture. I can't remember if there's an R there or not. That's a new band from one of the members of Wick. Really like basement rock, kind of like Mom Jeans and Pup kind of vibe. And then Jim, which is just experimental craziness. They have like a synth player, guitar, a drummer, I think a bass player, and then every time I think I've seen them 3 times, and they've never had the same lineup. So I have no idea. I know some of the members have been consistent, but I have no idea who's showing up to play in Jim necessarily. And I believe they don't have any written material. I think it's all like off the cuff. My guess is they have like general directions they go, but they don't have written stuff. And then I believe he goes by Chris Carl. Chris Koch, from a local guy from town. I've known him for years. He's always been around the music scene. I just don't think he really got into like playing seriously till this year.
He's got an album.
Yep. Yeah, he kind of wrote it and just like wanted to release it super fast and just kind of have like a super raw like first year album type of thing.
Yeah, he's played a bunch of songs at open mics, and he was on. I've seen him at a few different things. Yeah. Is that album? Is it all just like singer-songwriter stuff? Did he add more instrumentation?
I think it's just acoustic guitar and vocals for all of it. And actually, the drummer for Aperture is the one who recorded it. And he's got a little DIY basement thing going on. I think he's got like a isolated booth like built. I think it's still like just like wood in the basement, but that's what I prefer, to be honest.
Where'd you say that Aperture was then? Is that around here? Or is that
one of them's around
cities?
Here. I believe one of them's from the cities. But I only know Tim, the person, and he's the one who booked all this, and it was actually his idea to donate all the money. So
yeah, that's
shout out
cool.
Tim.
Shout out Tim.
I don't know if that's my camera. Shout out Tim.
We're just doing the one kind of.
Perfect.
I think. Yeah, we'll see what that one does.
Dealio.
Yeah, it's a really cool show idea. I like that.
Yeah, and I love that DIY style. Like that's what, when I first got into Weathered, that was like my favorite thing in the world, was playing like little basement shows and playing the Cherry Pit. And like the first math rock show I ever saw was Godspeed Black Emperor, I think is the name of the band, and that was at a house show. And,
when?
Oh gosh. I think this would have been 2011, 2012. Really? My roommate, Tyler Filler, brought me. I actually sent him a really sappy message recently because I was like, you got me into math rock, and that's like what 80% of my life revolves around.
God, I've always loved Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Yeah, they were super, super nice, really down to earth. And the bands that opened for them were very strange. I don't remember the names of them, but Yeah, it was really random. He was like, "You want to go to a house show?" And then I saw the band and looked them up, and they were like quite popular already.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
extremely surprising to me. And there was like that whole like period of time of Canadian bands with too many members, like in the early aughts.
Yeah, they had quite. I think they only had. I think it was 7 people.
Oh, gee. Yeah, I know sometimes they play with the pit orchestra, like they do a whole bunch of stuff. And like that's the post rock that I'm familiar with. So like, a lot of times when you're talking about math rock, I'm just totally unfamiliar with what you're talking about.
Most of the stuff I know is like European and Japanese, and that's just like those were the bands that got everything started. A few Taiwanese, yeah. But there are some American bands that are definitely coming out, and one of them, Tiny Moving Parts, that I brought up earlier, is from, I think it's Benson, Minnesota, is where they're from. And they're pretty big in the math rock scene.
That sounds like it's north of the cities.
Yeah, it's out there. It's like open tunings, like lots of really twangy with lots of chorus on it, and he does open tunings with like lots of repositioning capos, and yeah, that dude, he was one of the first people. This Couch is Long and Full of Friendship. That's like one of the like main albums that like influenced my music taste at that point when I started getting into math rock and stuff. Definitely them. Definitely, This Town Needs Guns was another big one. And then American Football is the, like, they're like one of the holy grails. Same with Toe. They've been doing it since like 98, 99, and they're also really big.
That's who you told me to listen to last time we shot a video, and I never did it.
They're the reason I bought a Rat pedal. Huh. I was like, you don't use distortion in math rock, bro. And then I saw Toe, and I was like, oh, he has like 4 distortion. He had a Metal Zone. I was like, Metal Zone and math rock? Okay. They do a lot of open tunings too.
Have you played guitar in all the bands you've been a part of?
No, this is my first one.
Okay.
One time I had to fill in for guitar for Weathered at a Red Rock show. Not Red Rock, sorry, Red Sky, rest in peace. And but everything else was drums. I was a drummer for most of my life. I always wanted to in band, but they wouldn't let me, so I had to play tuba. And I used to go to a friend's house who had drum sets, and I always just try to mooch off theirs for a long time. I actually kind of, Weathered asked me if I played drums, and I kind of lied and said I played drums like more than I did at that point. And then when I got into Weathered, I was like, okay, I'll buy a drum set.
How do you like the change up from
it's way
drums to guitar?
I feel like I have to like think about way more. I feel like drums was like hit the thing at the right time, and now it's like hit the thing at the right time, but also with the right note. And it seems, I don't know, it's more daunting, and it also feels like more of the song is like on your shoulder, especially because me and Alex we're the only 2 melodic instruments, and he takes the melody a lot, but it just feels a lot more. Obviously, drums are the foundation, but it just feels like a lot more is on your shoulders to like really hit the mark with the melody. Whereas drums, I was like 19 and I feel I could play like 2-hour, 3-hour sets. I couldn't do that on a guitar because there's so much more to it. And when I was doing that on drums, and we had like an hour and a half of material, and you could just kind of fake it on drums. On guitar, I can't do that. Especially math rock.
No winging it.
Yeah.
Listening back to our live session with you guys is really impressed me. Like, I don't know, I'm not super familiar with the genre and I've done a lot of listening. And
Thank you.
I think you guys are really awesome.
Thank you.
Do a really cool job with that, and I can't follow it
Yeah.
most of the time.
I think after if it only takes a few lessons. We try to make it pretty palatable, but we try to. Basically, we don't do anything for like more than 2 or 3 times, and we kind of try to move on to another idea. So we try to keep it moving. But I want it to be like, we never want to say like no to a part. Like we don't want to write something and be like that's too simple and stuff like that. We kind of want to just if it flows, it flows. So especially now we have a lot more simpler parts. Like we have a lot of like much more punky riffs and stuff that's like kind of a simpler foundation that kind of builds and builds. Kind of like Battles, if you guys have ever heard them. They're like a looper band that just, it's like layer on layer on layer on layer.
That's cool.
I'll have to check it.
Like you check out Toe?
Yeah.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, some things take time, man. You really gotta be in the mood to absorb something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it's gonna be math rock. To be honest.
It's a little abstract at times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's
fun.
good.
It's fun calling
that's
ourselves math rock and just like stuff like that because I feel like we can kind of still do whatever because it's so. It's kind of like saying you're a metal band. There's still like that could mean a million things.
Yeah, what are the rules? How do people gatekeep math rock?
Yeah, I think it's mostly to do with syncopation. Tapping is definitely a good thing. Yeah, tapping is definitely a big part of it. But a lot of people, but I don't think you need it. It's because it's more about the syncopation and weird rhythms. A lot of like math rock purists are like all about if there's not like weird time signatures and polyrhythms, it's not math rock. It's just like post rock or something else. But for me, it's like all about rhythm and syncopation. It kind of feels like rhythm first, melody later. Kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that because I kind of immediately grouped math and post rock, and I
see that
totally foible to like tell the difference. So if you could educate me in any way,
yeah, I would say it's all about. I would say post rock is way more like lots of strumming and lots of like full chord changes. And it's I don't think post rock's quite. I guess there's a lot of syncopation in it, but it's more like the band Totoro, for example, is an example of something more post rock, or Japan Droids, where it's like lots of like chord switching, like da 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 da. Whereas math rock, I think, is more about the syncopation and more about like more singular notations and stuff like that. But it's definitely a lot about the rhythm. I think that's what drew all three of us to, because my band's all rhythm players, and I think that's what drew us to it in the first place.
All right, so we're just gonna wrap up our conversation briefly. We lost a little bit of the audio from the end of our conversation before, so.
Thank you. The Mankato scene?
Mankato scene, tell me a little bit about what you've noticed and how it's growing and what it's becoming.
Yeah, so I just have noticed in probably the last 1.5 2 years, very similar to around the time we started, that there seems to be a resurgence of like people who used to be in bands kind of creating new bands, some venues getting a little more developed, like you guys down at Red Rocks, which is awesome, having somewhere right by the bars besides I guess Chops. Technically I think they book shows, but it's mostly like cover bands, or not Chops, there's something else now, I can't remember what they're called now, but yeah. So yeah, it's just awesome. And then with that show we're doing Square Deal.
Yeah,
that's what
I think they've shifted. I don't know exactly what they're doing right now.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah, and with the DIY scene coming back a little bit with this house show, and you guys are really developing kind of like a little EDM community.
Yeah, we're trying to
cool.
build that. I'm really kind of excited about that. We got a lot of DJs, but not a lot happening, so trying to do that.
Yep, and yeah, I've even seen like played a couple all ages shows and stuff like that just hadn't really seen stuff like that for years. So it's.
Do you think it's a new energy or just like?
Yeah, I think so, and I think like
right combination of people.
And kind of new people booking shows and like just having some new blood and for a while I think that a lot of the bands that were in town, number one, moved away. So like just for more opportunity in other cities and stuff like that. And then there weren't many all ages shows going down, so a lot of the younger bands from out of town haven't been coming back for a while. And
that makes a difference.
Yeah, and also like I said, I think quite a few band members have kind of broken up and then created some new projects and stuff like that. Or not even necessarily broken up, just kind of like fizzled out and want to try new things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really great to see, and there's a lot of support in the scene. We've raised quite a bit of money in the last year for like Edgar and Fuzzy, and we're raising money on tomorrow now, 2 days later, yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the show and try and make it.
Heck yeah.
And why don't we just do plugs and...
Yeah, so you can find us on @OnionBunMN and most social media. Yeah, you can find me in Twitter, I guess now, @GrumTheDad. And then also, look up.
In the banana page.
Yes, people who eat vegan dehydrated bananas are genetically weak. That's a great place to go if you're, trying to find some
that sort of thing.
If you're trying to find some like-minded people. Yeah.
Fun. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Glad we were able to wrap it up.
Yeah, no problem.
Right on.
Thank you.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.